Well, I can tell you right now that I got something right here that it just burns me. I mean, it burns me to my very core and soul, it does. You see, what we're going to talk about here is political correctness. And I'm going to tell you right now that Pastor Dowell is going to use a couple of superlatives that may not be approved of by people out there who have clean mouths and filthy lives. But de oppresso libera. De oppresso libera. You know what that means? That is one of my best friends, pastors, buddy, brothers of the silk. Also, we both are air assault qualified as well. I'm at a loss for words. Anyway, what it really means, that motto means, and it has always been the Special Forces motto, is to liberate the oppressed, to free the oppressed. That's exactly what it means. All right, now we have that education here. Let's go to a station identification break here for a moment, and we'll be right back with the rest of this story. This is nothing but 100% bullshit. That's all it is. Just old-fashioned bullshit. Pastor Dowell, what the hell you all upset about and everything? Look, these chicken neck, politically correct, weak back, spineless cockroach, let me keep my job and everything else, and let me capitulate and acquiesce to this castrated in feminine civilization that we in. I have a whole bunch of more words, but I'm going to hold my resolve on this one. And I'm telling you right now, Pastor Fox, this is going to burn you. This is going to burn you to your very core. You've got Green Berets. And let me throw this in there. Anybody who in the armed forces that is wearing a special skill identifier, meaning like they're in the 82nd Airborne Division, they have jump wings, they are an Army Ranger, they used to have the black beret, now they have the tan beret. That got jacked from them from probably some. Ooh, I'm telling y'all, I feel the old military rising up in me on this one right here. And it's hard to hold this one back because I got all kinds of words come to my mind. Anyway, and then you've got the Green Beret for the Special Forces. Check this out. Green Beret, who beat the hell out of a child rapist, is cleared of any wrongdoing. First of all, what the hell you mean he's cleared of any damn wrongdoing? That's the whole motto of the Special Forces in the first place, is to free the oppressed. Now, what's the story here? Here's the account. You got some dang pork chop boot-licking Afghan pig over there that is tying up little boys and raping them. So you get a captain and you get a sergeant first class. They see this. I believe it's a captain and a sergeant first class. All right, they see this. They beat the hell out of this. He fortunate. He only just took an ass whooping. But what burns me more than anything is the posture of this wicked ass government of ours. This wicked ass government, I'll call it damn law enforcement. I tell you, there's an old saying in the military goes that shit rolls downhill. And when it comes times for the heads to spin, it will always be the soldiers' heads that spin it. These damn generals, so-called commanders, and these damn politicians who run around being politically correct. I told y'all, morality, morality, and all this old other crap. That's what they saying. Let's let debauchery, let's let hell, let's let. Every time I do that, that's because there's some words that I used to say a lot as a paratrooper that I don't say anymore. But boy, I tell you what, I have an extensive vocabulary in that area, and this burns me. Now, this is what's going to burn. See, that's the reason why I can't recommend nobody going in this kind of army, this shit. I can't recommend no man. And what gets me is that, first of all, you know, people have no idea of the extensive amount of training that these men have to go through just in order to receive the tab. And then how they have to put their lives on the line. See, you in the civilian world out there, you think of warriors whenever the CNN reports it or Fox News reports it. Man, there's stuff going on all around this earth and all around this globe that you will never ever even hear about. I'm telling you, I had to take a couple of deep breaths. I had to wipe my eyes. Whew, and I've calmed down a whole lot. But I want you to hear. I want you to hear this shit I'm getting ready to read. This is some bullshit right here. I want you to hear this. Listen to this. All right? Special Forces to change Free the Oppressed motto after complaints from Afghans holding sex slaves. Whoo, boy. You ready? Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Here it goes. That's my old stomping ground, 82nd Airborne Division. Listen. Top Army leaders have ordered its elite Special Forces unit to change its motto from the Latin De Oppress Libera to liberate the oppressed. That's what that means. To something that would be more culturally sensitive. I got something for your culturally sensitive ass. Ooh. After a large number of Afghans holding child sex slaves have complained. Look at this. And we got our ass over in the country bringing back soldiers in body bags for this kind of shit. Listen to this. We want to make sure we are not offending our coalition partners and not judging them based on our own biases. Let me see. So now our form of morality and conviction is bullshit then, right? In other words, we don't think right. Is that what the hell they saying? Listen to this. Said Colonel Dwight S. Berry, a Pentagon spokesperson. At the end of the day, we just have to respect that raping young boys and mutilating female genitals is just part of their culture. See the reason why? SF, you already got it because the Army is discharged. Discharged. These two men right here. I'm gonna put two things for you to view down here. One to read and one to see. Because they're actually doing what the Are you serious? At the end of the day, we have to respect that raping young boys and mutilating female genitals is just part of their culture. You see, that's where the man first comes out in me. I don't give a damn. I don't give a shit what the Army motto said. You could take your SOPs. You could take all your damn articles. You could take all your damn laws and shove them up your ass, as far as I'm concerned. If I was still in and I seen some crap like that, I'd have did the same thing, if not worse. I'd have planted my foot so far up in his ass. Let me take a break here for a moment. See, here's the politics of everything. You know, hold on. I don't know nowadays. I literally don't know. I assume that I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. But we can assume that these people that are speaking like this, hopefully in their private life, they don't really believe in this shit they're selling. I assume that there's certain things you say out in front of the camera because it's politically correct. But then behind the scenes, you really, truly are saying it. I'm telling you, there's just some things that are just simply no compromise on, none whatsoever at all. It just, I feel sorry for the brothers. I do. But anyway, I'm going to try to go on here for a second. If I get too much peed off this, you can just take it and have it. Y'all go ahead and read it for yourself. All right. Started in 1952, Army Special Forces chose the Latin motto of De Oppresso Libre as a time when the U.S. was heavily focused on freeing people around the world from the chains of Soviet communism. Now, decades later, Army leaders want operators to be more aware of cultural differences. In other words, to hell with freeing the oppressed. Now, you throw that crap out. That was something that was created in. We've got to change according to the times. Y'all pray for me, please. And hell no, I ain't going to hell because I say bullshit and shit. Most of you, your mind and your life is worse than what I'm saying. Yeah. Whew. Let me. Now, decades later, Army leaders want operators to be more aware of cultural differences that they may not understand in Iraq and Afghanistan and Berkeley, California. The move comes in the wake of numerous complaints from Afghan men. These ain't no men. These are damn monsters who have chided the U.S. military officials over previous run-ins with Special Forces soldiers unaware of the ancient Afghan custom of Bakar Bazaar. What the hell is that? The practice, which literally translates to boy play, consists of chaining children to beds, taking off their clothes, and then sexually assaulting them until they scream bingo. I'm done. I can't do it no more. I can't do it. I can't. Pastor Fox, I'm sorry, brother. I have to lay this down right here, man, because this stuff right here, you see that? Makes you want, I'm telling you. Tell you what, I'm going to hold my safety. All right? I'm going to hold my safety, my position right now, because see, this is the stuff right here. This is the stuff that just touches my very core. If them boogers believe that they damn men and stuff, I tell you what, invite me and Pastor Fox and Dave Maskin over there. And we're all believers in Christ. And let us see some shit like that go down and see what the hell we do. I promise you one thing, they ain't going to be able to be around to complain about it. And that's the truth, and that's the true straight way. I can't take no more. I can't, I got to get out of here and go to work day because this kind of stuff right here, I can feel my blood pressure right now. I can feel my body's hot. Anyway, have a good day.
For the first time, we are hearing directly from a decorated Green Beret who is being involuntarily separated from the U.S. Army for beating an Afghan police commander he calls a brutal child rapist. Last week, we told you about the case of Captain Dan Quinn and Sergeant First Class Charles Martland. Quinn left the Army on his own, but Martland is being essentially kicked out. Today, CNN obtained a statement from Martland in which the soldier says he had a moral obligation to act. In the statement provided originally to Republican Congressman Duncan Hunter, Martland writes, quote, "Kicking me out of the Army is morally wrong, and the entire country knows it. The alleged rapist whom he confronted is a U.S.-backed Afghan police commander who had allegedly tied a young boy to a bed and raped him repeatedly for up to 2 weeks, according to the boy and his mother, as well as according to other police commanders. Captain Quinn was with Martland when they physically confronted the rapist to send him a message, they say. Sadly, it was not the first time the soldiers had heard of this kind of abuse in this village, but they say they had previously been told by higher-ups in the Army that it was an Afghan matter and that there was nothing they could do about it. However, the local Afghan government, the two soldiers say, was not willing to act.
Charles and I just felt compelled to step in and go around the government of Afghanistan and handle the situation ourselves.
In his statement obtained today, Martland says, quote, "The severity of the rapes and the lack of action by the Afghan government caused many of the locals to view our local police as worse than the Taliban." Both Martland and Quinn were relieved of their duties after the incident. Congressman Hunter has written to the Secretary of Defense, but without intervention by the Secretary of Defense or by the White House, Martland's 11 years of service, which include 2 Bronze Stars having been earned, will end on November 1st. The Pentagon denies any policy telling soldiers to turn a blind eye to sexual abuse. Today, I asked the President's Deputy National Security Advisor, Ben Rhodes, about Martland. He couldn't comment on the case specifically, but he did say this.
Well, Jake, I don't want to comment on issues that have to be resolved in the chain of command. That would be out of, keeping with established practice. I will say that all of us were horrified to hear these reports of the abuse that was taking place in Afghanistan, and certainly support efforts to ensure that whatever partners we're working with in Afghanistan abide by basic human rights.
Able to join us this evening. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman from Culpeper, Mr. Freitas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I'd like to tell you all a little bit about a fellow, I guess I shouldn't say veteran because he's still on active duty, but his name is Sergeant First Class Charles Martland. And Sergeant First Class Martland is an active duty soldier right now that I think needs the help of pretty much all Americans, but especially the people in this body that have some influence with respect to the process by which he is currently being considered for discharge. Sergeant First Class Martland served in the same battalion I did in 3rd Battalion, 1st Special Forces Group. He did multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. And the reason why he is going to be discharged at this point was because 4 years ago in Afghanistan, a small boy came up to him and pleaded to him for help along with his mother. This small boy had been tied to a post and brutalized repeatedly for days by an Afghan police officer. And so Sergeant First Class Martland approached this individual with his commanding officer, along with the child and the mother. They laughed off the accusation. They laughed at him. They laughed at this child that had been, again, tied to a post and brutally raped for days. So Sergeant First Class Martland, upon seeing this reaction for the officer, proceeded to punish him for it. He beat him. He beat him, and that in the eyes of the current powers that be within the United States military and the administration is reason for him to be drummed out of the military. Ladies and gentlemen, the motto of U.S. Army Special Forces Green Berets is De Oppresso Liber, to free the oppressed. Regardless of where they come from, regardless of their nationality, their religious convictions, it's to free the oppressed. And you need to understand something about the way Green Berets operate. At 2 combat tours in Iraq, I spent more time with the indigenous population than I did with Americans. We build relationships, we build trust. It gets to a point where you're not just over there fighting for our Constitution and fighting for our citizens, you're fighting for the people in that neighborhood that you have built this relationship with. They are your family as well. And I will tell you, as many of the people in this room who are combat veterans can probably attest, and many people in law enforcement as well, you do not truly appreciate evil when you look at it. You appreciate what it is when it looks back. And the question that every service member has to come into contact with when that episode happens is, what are you going to do about it? And Sergeant First Class Martland confronted evil. He punished it. He demonstrated to evil, he demonstrated to that boy and his mother that someone was going to be willing to stand up for them. Somebody was going to be willing to face the consequences that could have arisen from this and defend this boy when nobody else would. And our response now as a country and a military is going to be to drum him out? Maybe there are some that feel that what he did was excessive. I personally do not. But I will tell you this, we should be very, very careful at the message that we send to the men and women that we expect to go overseas and put their bodies, themselves, in harm's way, to stand in between the innocent and those who would exploit and destroy them. Because when you have signified to them that you will not have their back as soon as it becomes politically inconvenient, that as soon as it may look bad in the press, you're going to abandon them. Don't expect a military that is going to continue to go over there and put everything on the line, give up all of their tomorrows, miss anniversaries, birthdays, Christmases, Thanksgiving, away from their families, from their women, from their wives, from their children, from their husbands. He is owed our loyalty. He demonstrated it to us year after year. And quite frankly, I think it demonstrates something to be proud of when a small child in a foreign country that doesn't speak the same language, that barely knows this person, is willing to come up to them and sees that flag on his shoulder as a symbol of someone that he can go to for protection. And now we've just told not only the people that perpetrated this atrocity against this small boy, we've told the small boy too, don't count on it, because we'll punish them if they do so. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to be defended by a military that when they are confronted with evil like that, their response is not fear, it's not equivocation, it is to confront it with violence if necessary. I think Sergeant First Class Martland deserves our support. He is currently right now undergoing his second appeal. As far as any influence that you have with congressional delegations within the Department of the Army, I would encourage you to please stand by this man. He has stood by us, and he has stood by the people of Afghanistan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.